Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Tantalus Systems channel, transforming utilities and communities. Forefronting this industry, Chief Executive Officer Peter Londo. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you back, man. Happy New Year's. We got lots to dive into to kick the year off. Before we get into too much into the 2022, I kind of want to roll back the clock just a little bit. I mean, from launching your next gen fiber solutions to the smart grid deployment controlling 200 megawatts of electricity, what really stuck out to you in 2022? And just give some framework to the retail audience, kind of where you were, and then we'll figure out where we're going.
So with respect to 2021, a couple of announcements that we shared towards the end of the year on our next generation fiber to the home solution and fiber gateway for utilities. We announced a partnership with an organization called Irby, which is a sales channel partner for us that is specifically working towards deploying fiber networks alongside and in partnership with utilities. In addition to their expertise in the fiber space for the utility industry, they cover a whole host of other capabilities. So it's a well-established, reputable channel partner for us that on a named account basis will be helping to position and share the benefits and attributes of our new capability to utilities they're already supporting and have embedded relationships with. So as we get further through our development process and expand the capabilities of that TrueSense fiber gateway through 2022, we're very much looking forward to being able to accelerate our path into the market through commercialization and with a very strong partnership in the sales channel partner named Irby. So that was one aspect of it. And then following up on some of our previous conversations, we continue to make excellent traction and gain traction with our new data analytics tool being brought into the utility industry with a SaaS, true SaaS offering. In addition to the 6 initial utilities that have subscribed to the SaaS offering through Q4, we are in the process of executing and presenting 20 demonstrations to other utilities within our utility user community. And so through those 20 demonstrations of accessing and evaluating their data, putting that into our data analytics tool and presenting to those utilities where we've identified specific issues with assets at the substation, at the circuit, at the feeder level, and how we can help them predict where outages or other failures of devices will unfold. We're very excited about seeing incremental subscriptions unfold, certainly in the first 3-6 months of 2022. And as we continue to get that capability and that application rolled out, we're really overwhelmed with the response that we've received across our own user community. So very excited about both of those two initiatives from an R&D perspective to drive organic growth for the organization.
Yeah, two good points there. Do you mind just kind of briefing us on some of your guidance here hitting off Q1 of 2022 and just kind of what kind of landscape you see moving forward here and anything else that might be prevalent?
Sure. So we haven't released yet our Q4 financial information and then corresponding 2021 information. But a couple of things. We witnessed in 2021 record growth for our organization in terms of orders, meaning conversions out of our pipeline on a year-over-year basis. And so we'll be very much looking forward to sharing the specifics of that as we release financial information. But I think that record growth in orders has also translated into conversions of utilities into our user community. And so we'll similarly, almost a record number of utilities converted out of our pipeline. Again, we'll be looking forward to sharing that information. As we look into 2022, the opportunity in front of us is as robust as we've seen it in really the last decade. And there are two key drivers associated with that. The first driver, and I'm going to share a few images, I think, to pick up on some of these trends, if that's okay. But the first real driver around what we're seeing in really bringing utilities to the forefront of making investments is fundamentally witnessing a serious dilemma. And as we see continued press releases and announcements from the auto industry of converting fleets at Ford, at General Motors, at BMW, Mercedes, even Porsche recently announcing electric vehicle sales for Porsche outpaced 911 sales, right? Sure, that's at the higher end of the market, but as we see the broader automobile manufacturers in North America commit to full fleets of electric vehicles in the next 5, 7, and 10 years, right, we're asking the utility to prepare for the electrification of everything, particularly with respect to the transportation sector. And we're simultaneously seeing society, individuals, you and me, politicians, regulators, forcing utilities to decarbonize. And so if you think about that, we're going to ask utilities to be able to not only generate, but then deliver significantly more power to electrify things, and simultaneously be asking them to reduce their carbon footprint and improve their efficiency. Right? The existing grid isn't capable of supporting that. And I'll give you one statistic I love. If you think about the state of Texas in the US, their system requires about 8 gigawatts of power to support that state, notwithstanding what unfolded almost a year ago with their deep freeze and bringing their entire grid to its knees. If all of the vehicles in the state of Texas eventually become electric vehicles, the state will require almost 2,200 gigawatts of power. Right? So it's an order of magnitude that isn't feasible in today's landscape. So that's going to force not only on the generation side and transmission side, but massive upgrades on the distribution side. And so to that end, as we look towards 2022 and even beyond, we're seeing something really interesting unfold here in the US, where the government is really starting to prioritize investment for the utility industry at a level that we've never witnessed in the last 50 plus years, if not longer. And that's coming through the form of stimulus dollars, some of which are already readily available and being deployed, some of which have been earmarked and legislated through the government in the US, but not necessarily active in the market just yet. So draw that down a little further, right? On COVID-19 stimulus, there's $350 billion that's been earmarked for states, counties, and cities. Those dollars are available for investments in our technology as it relates to improving the efficiency and reliability of the electric distribution grid. Similarly, an annual program that's here every year. It continues to expand each year. It's administered by FEMA, which is the emergency agency that steps in after storms or other catastrophic events. Right? They've got $1 billion at their disposal to spend on grid resiliency. And so this program in particular, we've witnessed the first utility in our user community actually access dollars through this annual grant program that's gaining more and more attention across the United States to upgrade their grid in anticipation of winter storms, which is where this utility is based. So we think that that's a catalyst to ultimately generating other demand from not only existing utilities that we support, but prospective utilities that we're selling to really put some money from the government through taxpayers, but ultimately putting money into utilities, particularly the ones that we support, to accelerate their advancements in technology and improve their infrastructure, really to deal with this electrification relative to decarbonization. So we're really excited about some of those things that are unfolding as we look into 2022.
Those are absolutely incredible insights. I think too often or not, people get caught up in the exciting flashiness of a new electric vehicle coming out, but largely forget the exact the demand that puts on the utilities and the grid. And I feel like that's going to be a huge proponent, obviously, to pay attention to, especially for the investors out there. But I definitely appreciate these insights today, Peter. Thanks so much for coming out.
Yeah, great, Colin. I think your point's spot on. If I can just summarize that, I'm watching it, right, as someone who pays attention to the market as well, right? There is massive attention, retail and institutional, around electric vehicles. I think for some shrewd investors, there's an opportunity to start thinking through beyond just the electric vehicle charging infrastructure play. What is the cascading impact to the utility industry that has to deliver power to specific locations where vehicles are going to be charged? We're in the thick of it. We're accelerating our efforts from an R&D and corporate strategy perspective to help utilities prepare for that very near-term issue. I think it creates an interesting and compelling opportunity in the market for us and for investors. So thank you.
Incredible. On that note, folks, if you have any questions, always let us know what you think in that comment section below. Consider subscribing. As that news comes down the wire, you'll get updates. But in light of this, Peter, stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you in the next one.
Same to you.